What's up, guys? Welcome to podcast episode number 3 of Generational Gains with my dad, Greg Herlean, and myself, Carson Herlean. We are here today from San Clemente, California, out here in the beautiful, Orange County, California. It's been really nice out here lately, wouldn't you say? Things are going good.
Yes, the weather's been good.
It's been perfect.
I'm glad we're not in Vegas.
Yeah, but so today we're looking to talk about personal growth and development together, and what's kind of shaped our experiences and what we hope to learn and continue to grow as. And so I was thinking about this thought and this topic the past couple of days, and my first question for you would be, what are some key experiences you think that have shaped your personal growth in your business career and in life?
Well, I think there's probably been a few pivotal things for me in my life that have shaped my entrepreneur success. And I would say the first thing was probably my church mission. When I was 19 years old and I left the house and I was thrown into another country, third world country, and had to learn the language, had to be rejected all day long and accept it and smile about it. And I had to, talk to people about, convince people, the importance of God, which is kind of a tough sale when they're already maybe believing the way that they already believe. So I'd say my mission first and foremost, because it taught me so many things. And that was a pivotal thing for me, as well as, failure. I was getting rejected all day long. So I'd say that's one of them. And then the other thing I'd say, a pivotal part for me, that shaped me as an entrepreneur, I think was when the market crashed in 2008, the real estate market. I thought anything that I bought from 2001 to 7, I thought I was a genius, because I would buy it and then 4 months later it would go up and I'd flip it and I'd make money, and I just thought, man, I am a genius at real estate. Yeah. And so what I did is I put all my money that I had earned in those few years, I doubled down and borrowed tons of money because I thought I could do bigger and better things. Yeah. And I got in way over my head. And so now all of a sudden I was borrowing $30 million of bank loans. I was over levered. And so I learned it's okay to get singles and doubles, meaning it was okay if I just kept doing my current plan, didn't have to go all over the place and do huge hotels and apartment complexes. So that was something that really shaped me as well.
Yeah, well, those are two really big topics we could talk about. The first one being your mission. I 100% agree with that. So for those of you who don't know, we both served LDS Church Missions for 2 years, teaching about God and Jesus Christ. And we were knocking doors. We were both in third world countries. And both learned different languages. And that was a huge experience for me as well.
So what language did you learn?
So I learned the Georgian language.
How much do you use that today?
Never. I lived in Georgia. It's right by Russia in the Middle East area. I have not used Georgian since. But really cool experience. And what I was going to say with that is, you talked about getting rejected being something you learned from. And I didn't have that much experience similar to that, because I didn't have as many opportunities to do that. In my mission, it was more about building the church leadership and being a leader out there, less so than teaching, knocking doors. So I got shaped in a different way, where I had to be a leader of a whole congregation. I had to organize groups together. I had to plan things. I had to make things happen and lead pretty much a congregation almost to do the goal of what we were trying to do, of bringing people to Christ. But it was different for me because I felt like I learned how to plan and organize for success, and less so learning rejection, which, both are good to learn from, but that's what I felt I learned from, and my mission at least, and that's a huge proponent to propelling me to doing different entrepreneurship journeys. So that's the first thought.
Well, I think on this point, I think what's interesting is, as I'm listening to you, people today are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't party in your 20s and you didn't you've got a 21-year-old. And now I understand why people think I'm a little bit crazy, because this was me 23 years ago. A lot of people are like, well, how did you have success so young? Well, listen to him talk. I don't think I talked as intelligently as you are today, but I would say that the reason, I feel like I'm hearing you, because this was your only, like, it's time for you to start life. At 21, you're like, this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And most people when they're 21, they're like, all right, who's the next girl, who's the next party, who's the next whatever.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it's just a different journey and formula, I think, for success. Because there's a lot of people who had that journey who've also had success.
Yeah, that's very true. Any other thoughts on the first thought you had there? Because I can go to the second one.
Go ahead.
You also talked about, what was the second
I
part?
over-levered myself.
over-leveraged
I
yourself.
was going after home runs rather than singles and doubles.
Yeah. And I think that's something for me that I actually am not going to have to go through as much because of you and your mistakes and your failures and your experience that I can leverage. Instead of leveraging money and deals, I'm going to leverage you. I can learn from all these experiences that
He's going to leverage me.
through.
Did you hear that? He's going to leverage me.
I'm going to learn. I've learned from you, and I know the recipe to success now because of that. And it doesn't mean I can be lazy or nonchalant about building a business, but I think I'll probably endure different mistakes, different failures, but not as severe possibly because of that.
I would say that's the hope that I think any parent. I love that you said that. Obviously, this.
We'll see, though.
We will see. The proof will be in the pudding, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I love that you said that, because I think every parent hopes that their kids can learn from their mistakes and also from their successes. And so you can take hopefully the good from both the bad and the good that I've had in my life and other people around you.
Yeah.
And do better. And you are going to have your own, obviously. You've already had some difficult things and or setbacks, but they'll be bigger, ones that will come about. And so you're right. And so hopefully that is the case.
Yeah. And I think kudos to you, though, for going through different challenges and setbacks through 2008, 2009, like you just mentioned. And you kept, put your head back down and went to grind again, and you figured it out and you got it solved. And you excelled. It made you better. So a lot of people, when that happens, the setback, they crumble. And so, kudos to you for doing that, getting through it, and then continuing to propel, which is pretty cool.
So I have a question just listening to you. How many of your friends talk like you?
I've seen myself hang out with less and less people lately just because it's just different.
You're just growing different.
Yeah. I love hanging out with people my age. It's so fun. It's refreshing. But it's harder to relate.
Yeah.
People talk like this, but it's less real. It's more like, oh, one day we're going to do this and whatever.
All right. So kind of talking about personal growth, just curious, so how do you set meaningful goals for you and your life, and not in your personal life and also in your business ventures? Like, how do you set meaningful goals? Because, right, goals is like this whole vague thing. It's like I do real estate. Well, there's 100 things. I set goals, but how do you set meaningful goals in both your life and also in your business ventures? Or do you set them?
Yeah. It is difficult to set goals and stick to them. I think one thing I actually really like that you do is you put some sort of accountability to it. If you have a business with someone, you and that business partner set goals together about your own individual lives and your business together. And then catching up every quarter or monthly with that person, seeing how they're doing with their goals. I think accountability is huge. 99% of people who do goal setting do not do it with someone. Maybe spouses, but that's a great idea, and I think that's been something I learned from, and it has helped me to be able to do that with my spouse and with our business partners, my business partners. We're setting goals, we're talking about it, and we're trying to consecutively hit them every month, every quarter. I know it's not totally answered, but that was the first thing that came to mind is accountability.
Would you share maybe a meaningful goal that you currently have right now? Just, again, the part of this point of this generational gains, what we're doing is, Carson just turned 21, literally last week. And I think it's powerful to hear his perspective and mine on maybe some very similar subjects. But also for maybe young people that are, or parents that want their young people probably to get more involved in business or in life, in their relationships, to hear what kinds of things that they could be, their kids could be aspiring to or doing. And so tell me, like, what's we share a meaningful goal that you currently have? Maybe one in your life and also one in business?
Yeah. A personal goal I have, I'm a big proponent to journaling and writing things down about life, even if it's as simple as something that happened today or this week, or as meaningful as things you're going through. And just writing things out is very important, I think. And it's good to have those experiences because I don't remember what I was thinking a week ago or 2 days ago even, or what feeling I had. So it's good to keep a journal, in my opinion. And so I have a goal to write in my journal 2 times a week, and I fail most of the time. But it's a goal, and I try to hit it every week. And I at least go once a week. But that's a good personal goal. I think it's been helpful for me to just reflect, and it gives me time to look at my goals and think about them and ponder on it and continue to just remind myself of what I'm trying to do. So writing in my journal twice a week is something I'm personally trying to do. Business-wise, this quarter, I'll just say Q3 of 2023, one of my goals in one of the businesses is to have over $1 million or create another $1 million of equity in real estate. So this quarter, that's our goal, is to go out and get $1 million worth of real estate, which means we need $4 to $5 million worth of real estate to purchase to get that $1 million of equity. So that's kind of our goal for this quarter, to do that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, look, for me, goal setting and meaningful goals is really important. I think over time, I remember when I was in my early 20s, I had like these, not that they were bad, but I had like 5, 10, and like 20-year goals. And what I learned real quick is you still should aspire and maybe have those goals, but what was more meaningful for success was the weekly, monthly, annual goals. I think so many companies sometimes, they'll have a big vision. They're like, hey, look, we're going to hit $100 million. But if you don't have daily, weekly, or monthly goals, so I really, really focus on meaningful goals that are short term. Because I feel like the short term stuff, I'm able to tweak, and it enables me to achieve my bigger goals if I'm focused on those small things.
Yeah.
So that's something I spend.
Someone said, I don't know who it was, but they said, you will overestimate how much you can accomplish in 1 year, but you'll underestimate how much you can accomplish in 10 years. Always, whatever goal you set.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
think about 10 years. 10 years ago, I was in middle school, maybe?
Yeah.
Like tons of growth. So another 10 years, you have no idea what you can accomplish. Same with you.
Yeah.
So that's another thought.
One thing as far as personal growth that comes to mind as we're talking here, I want to share is I also want, I think, and I advice I'd give you as well, or anyone, is it's important that you share your growths and challenges with your partners and your significant others. And I that's something I failed at, I think, for the first 10 or 15 years also when I first started, because I kept it all inside or shared it just with maybe my business partner, but didn't share it with those that you love or that you live with.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because if they know your goals and also know your hardships, they'll help you through it because they care. And if you keep it all inside, they're not going to be your biggest cheerleader because they don't know how to cheer you on.
Yeah, that's a great
point. So that's something I think I've learned recently. I think probably mostly in the last 6 or 7 years, the importance of sharing your goals and the good and the bad with your significant other, and even family and business partners, so you can kind of ride through the hard times.
Yeah, that's really good. I was talking with a client last week. He was like mid-20s, and his goal was to I asked what's his big picture financially, and he said he wanted to have $500,000 in the bank by the time he's 50. That was his goal. And I was like, not to be rude, man, but you're mid-20s, do you know how much you can accomplish in 25 years? You can do a lot more than that. I know people don't have the perspective we do, or they haven't seen things you can do in life, or they don't have experience, which is fine. And those goals are probably great for them. But it just goes to show a lot of people underestimate what they can do. And I want to empower those who are in their 20s that they can literally do as much as they humanly think they can. You didn't think you could be at this stage when you were 20.
No.
And see how much you've accomplished. You didn't think you were going to do that, and look at it. So, you're living proof of that too.
Totally. And part of it's just, I only knew how far and how big I could dream at that time. When I was 20 or 18 years old, I didn't even know there was private plane. I mean, there was private planes, but that was like
Yeah.
for Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But that was it. I didn't know that was even an option. I didn't know first class lay down beds to internet. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
That you could get caviar and champagne. Like all, I couldn't even dream about that when I was 21.
Yeah.
Now I've messed you up a little bit because you have now seen those things. So now you have to dream bigger now and
Yeah.
and think about maybe that private plane to Europe at some point.
Yeah.
But I do think that comes with it as well. It's exciting to kind of live in the moment and
Yeah.
also participate in things and learn about things that will expand your excitement and goals.
Yeah.
So
100%.
cool.
So we've talked a lot about personal growth so far. Now let's get into development. So for you, what are some specific practices or habits that you have that have helped you continually learn, continually improve, and grow, always?
For me in particular, it might sound elementary, but it's a routine is critical to me. Having a routine and getting up early has been a game changer. And it's proven, by the way, entrepreneurs and business people that get up early and start their day early are more successful, period. Now, it doesn't mean, for those of you that sleep in, it's okay. But if you're taking it just from a math perspective, and I like numbers, that's how I make a lot of my decisions, you get up earlier, you get more done. So for me, it's about routine. When I'm able to get my prayer in the morning, meditation in the morning, and I'm able to kind of get caught up with things that had happened in the afternoon the day before.
Yeah.
So when my office shows up, they already have kind of a list of things they can work on. And then I get to go to the gym. And so when I'm at the gym, that's when my staff starts getting back to me. And so then for me, it's all about a routine. So routine. And then as far as learning goes, I'm a big believer in masterminds and boardrooms where you're with like-minded people that push you, that are successful. I'm in YPO. I think YPO is also something that's great. Where I'm, often I find myself as maybe the, I don't know if poorest is the right word, but I'm around very successful people, and I'm able to learn from them. And so I think constantly being around successful people and hearing their stories and learning from their mistakes and wins, and being in those kind of circles and building relationships and having routine is critical for me. So what about you? As you started, what are some of the things that you've contributed to maybe some of your learning and helping you? Yeah,
that's really good. I think actually that your family and how you grow up directly relates to what your personal routines are when you're an adult. And so I have very similar routines and schedules as you do. And I would say the biggest thing for me when it comes to learning is just being open-minded and being humble and being eager and open to learn. A lot of people think they know what's going on, or they don't even care to learn. And I think just being open-minded to learn is the most important piece. If you don't have that, you can't learn at all. So I like the idea of being in boardrooms, being with people who are like-minded, but you can't even get to that stage until you have the right mindset.
It's funny as you say that. I think of how I am not good at this anymore. I still go to boardrooms and masterminds and different events, which I do think are powerful, but I am very less open-minded.
You are, whenever we go to events, you are one of the early ones to leave, get out of there, take an earlier flight out. Yeah.
But but I still like going to them.
Yeah.
And I like being around them and hearing and learning, but I can only do so much of it. And I think when I was in my 20s, I would go and do anything with anybody because I was like, "Oh, you golf?" I wasn't a golfer. I was I still am a terrible golfer. But I was like, "Oh, you make money when you golf, so you gotta go buy clubs and you gotta go golf." Yeah. So I was golfing, losing balls, and I was like, "There's gotta be a better way for me to build relationships." But I was willing to do anything and everything. Now, because I've had some success, I'm definitely more specific about who I want to spend time with.
Yeah.
And I cherish my time much more. I mean, look, I've lived pretty much half my life at this point, so I only have half left. So I am going to pick and choose who I'm with. And I think a young person that's listening to this, I think your mentality is spot on. You still are creating your circles of influence and finding what you want to do and work on, and you don't know quite yet.
Yeah,
and you haven't been burnt really yet.
Yeah.
People have not. you're going to get screwed. People are going to take advantage of you. People are going to steal from you. It's 100% going to happen. You don't know when, you don't know how, but it will happen. And so when those things happen, it's when you will probably be a little bit more like me, where it's like, I'm not interested in meeting another person or in another partnership.
Yeah.
But that's an organic thing that will happen.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. What about just as far as learning goes? Is there any like other books or anything that you're reading into, or is it podcasts mostly? Or
I think last year I was really into learning. I was watching YouTube videos, podcasts all the time, and this year I've been so into the business and into looking for more deals and to talking with clients that I haven't spent a lot of time listening or watching anything anymore. So I actually want to put more time into that. It's just very difficult now. I mean, that's a good question for you. How do you manage that? How do you spend time to do that? Because it's hard to do that.
It is hard. I think I find most of my listening, I don't read as much anymore. Now I more listen as well. And I find more of that on flights or on vacations. So it's not as much. That's something I would like to work more on. I'd say one thing that you're really good at, and I think that helps all business people, is look, the better the person is, the more success they have. Not the smarter the guy. Like, if you don't have to be the smartest real estate guy in the room to make the most money in real estate. I think what I've learned is the most well-rounded people who are good husbands and mothers and parents. So I just feel like the most successful people are those that are like, what I was trying to get to really is I watch you, and I feel like you are very deliberate about your faith and spending time with, God and growing your relationship with God, which I think makes you a better businessman. You're very deliberate about the time that you spend with your wife, and I think the better husband that you are will create a better businessman. And so I have found in many rooms that people that are well-rounded and have balance, who can work out, who try to become more God-like and Christ-like, and who spend time on their bodies and in their minds and in their business, will have more success. Because look, I've seen people who are all in on business who are incredible experts in their space, doctors even, but they don't take care of their bodies. They aren't home with their families. They're not home with their kids. And so I think that's something as far as leveling up and personal growth, it's a balance.
Yeah, that's really good. How do you think you've maintained consistently a growth and learning mindset over 25 years of business?
Well, first, I don't know about the word maintained. I think that, and I appreciate you saying that, and maybe hopefully that's what you believe, and maybe that's what people that look at me that think social media looks as though I maintained it. But I would say it ebbs and flows. I'd say every year or 2 or 6 months, I go through these. There's life changes. I just had a baby 2 months ago, and so it's like, oh my gosh, routines changed. I used to have all this quiet, so now it's like at 5 a.m. or 4:30 I wake up. I got to get the baby back to sleep. So I then can do my prayers and meditation. But what if the baby doesn't? Those little things. And so look, you just have to recheck yourself often, I think, to get back in order. Okay, so look, in this episode, talking about this kind of personal growth and development, we've talked about education and education's a big subject. And I think we've even mentioned it in one of our prior episodes. Where are you in education? Are you still going to school?
That's a good question. The first episode we did on this was 3 months ago. This could be a to be continued question, by the way. Every few episodes, I'll be like, hey, how's education going? But go ahead. It changes. I think you asked this question in episode 1 is what I was going to say, and I was still doing school. Currently, I have like 2 or 3 classes left before I have my associate's degree. And so I am very overwhelmed, and time is tight with all the different stuff I'm working on business-wise, that I'm starting to decline my schoolwork. And I think I've come to the decision that I'm going to stop school after I get the associate's degree and kind of be good. If I ever feel the need to go back to it and finish the bachelor's degree, I will. There's a lot of online courses nowadays to do it. It's pretty easy, but right now I'm thinking it's no go on education. I'm learning in the past 6 months of this year, the first half of this year, I have learned more than all of the past 6 years I've been in school. Like, I've learned so much just from doing and actively being out there, being proactive and trying things, having really weird conversations with people because I don't know exactly how to take them or what to say, having hard conversations, and then just putting myself out there. I've learned way more than anything else I could have in school. And I don't think the degree has as much value as it used to. So it's just something I'm slowly getting away from.
Wow. So I just heard this for the first time with you.
Really?
That he might be postponing or ending his schooling after his associate. So look.
Yeah. And
how do you think I feel about it? Let's throw that before I tell you how I feel. But what do you think that I would say about how do you think I would respond to that? This is good. This is like unscripted at all.
Well, you had a similar experience. You stopped school and came back and finished it later at a time when you didn't have as much time as you did before as you thought you would. But I don't know. I think it's great. I think this is a good path to go down right now, and I think you'll be fine with it. You don't have any concerns or questions. I think this will be great. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
So do you remember the story about how my school was paid for?
Yes. You say that you paid for school.
No, not yours.
No. You paid. How you paid your school by having failures, losing money?
No.
Oh.
You're right. I say I have my master's degree through all it cost me $25 million to get my master's degree because I had some hardships in real estate early on. But when I went to school, college, I remember going to school and I thought that my parents were paying for it. And after I got married, I was like your age, I went to get a house loan. And I had learned that my mom and dad didn't tell me, bless their hearts, that's okay, but they had taken out a loan on my behalf in my name,
no way,
with my social, and to pay for my college. So it wasn't like all bad. Yeah. I just think I should have known about it, right? Like that would have been like if I would have pulled out a loan in your name and be like, yes, school's paid for.
Yeah.
And then you find out later, like, well, what?
And that's how it was paid.
Yeah, and so I found out that I owed money.
Okay.
So that was hard because that was one of the reasons why I was like, well, crap. I just learned that I'm paying for school now.
Yeah.
So I got to make sure that it's worth my while.
Yeah.
And I had just found out that I wasn't going to get into the business school because I had B's and C's in college. I'm not a test taker by any means, and so I was just kind of discouraged about where I was going to go.
Yeah.
So look. For me, I've got a lot of entrepreneur friends who swear that their kids should never go to school because of what you just said. The best schooling is entrepreneurship, getting in the weeds, like you said. You've learned more in 6 months than you have in 6 years.
Yeah.
I love that. I would say, though, I also didn't have the same kind of opportunities, I think, that you have today, where I am able to help with some of the college. Or at least I have in the beginning. Maybe I'm not now, which is a good thing. You can afford your own college now because you're making money. But my advice is, and I think you said this, by the way, is if you want to go back, you go back. And I think the reason why I went back to school about 3 years after I dropped out and started my business is because I was teaching the youth at church. And the next lesson was I had to study all about teaching these youth the importance of education. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I'm a college dropout. So how am I going to teach them about this? And so then I was like, and I got these two kids at home. Yeah. And so I want them to know that education still is important. And so I do think there's lots of ways of education, boardrooms, masterminds, networking. Yeah. There's all kinds of conventions to learn. So I think learning is an ongoing thing and personal development. So anyways, this was good information that I learned from you today, and I'm excited to see in maybe another few episodes or a few years, we'll see if you decide to go back. So
I do think I do think it would be really cool to have deep education, though, to have a bachelor's degree, have a master's degree, go and even get a doctorate. I think that would be really, really cool to spend that much time studying something and learning something and being an expert in it. I think would be really, really cool. Yeah. I just don't think right now the time is worth it to me. But maybe when I'm 30, maybe I'm who knows where, don't need to work, who knows? I can go back and do all that.
It's a typical 21-year-old.
You know?
Thinks they'll be done at 30. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. But you get the idea though that
Yeah.
I could do it then.
You absolutely could, by the way.
Just to actually really learn something and really get deep into some topic, I think it'd be cool. And who knows if it's business or whatever, you know?
Look, I'm 45 and I now want to go get my master's degree. And I want to do that because now I feel like it's not about the degree, but I really want to be a smarter businessman that I can apply in my personal life and business life. So no, that's a good valid point. Well, good. Well, look, how we end all of our episodes is sweet, sour, and service. And so, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go for it.
All right. So, sweet, sour, and service, as you know, is we've shared the sweet for me. Besides, obviously, always being able to hear new answers and new information from my son, which is awesome. I'd say my sweet was this morning. I got the opportunity. The baby woke up at 4:15 this morning, and it was dark outside. And even though it was super early, I ended up having an extra hour. Basically, it's normally 5:15. So my sweet today was I had an extra hour to kind of get my mindset today to get everything done way earlier, and also to spend a little extra time with her this morning. That's a sweet for me today.
That's awesome.
My sour, I think actually was a little bit about last night. Sour was we went to the beach last night and I didn't surf, and you and Anna got in there and were surfing, and I was bummed that I didn't. There was a lot of moving parts and people, and it was a long day. Yeah. And so my sour was I didn't surf with you. I just started surfing 3 weeks ago, and it's awesome. And then sweet, sour, service, what I did to help somebody else today. What did I do for somebody else today? I came home and I made a big breakfast for the boys today, and so I'd say that was my service today. And I even think I cleaned half the dishes for them too afterwards when they usually do that. So that's my sweet, sour, and service for today. What about you?
That's funny you say that. I'll start with service because I literally had the same one. I was coming off from the gym, and Anna was coming home from a walk with a friend, and I texted her what she wanted for breakfast, and I got home before her and made it for her, and while she was getting ready to go to work. And so same kind of service for me. And my sour is none. This week's been good. Maybe
you've been stressed out a little bit though.
Maybe it's just a lot going on, just a lot of moving pieces. I'm starting to do more cold calling realtors to find off-market or on-market deals to flip homes, and that's been kind of a lot to do. Is just constantly on the phone and keeping track of different deals. So that's been a new thing added to my plate that I usually don't do. Just kind of I want to learn the skill. So that's what's been kind of more stressful. I wouldn't say sour. It's been really good and I've learned, but a little more stressful. Sweet, we'll end on a sweet for this episode. Sweet's been this week is prime time of the summer, prime time of the year to be in California, and I've surfed 3 times this week, and I've been outside, and it's been awesome.
It's Thursday, so almost every day.
Yep, so it's been a great week. It's been awesome.
So you're going to rub it in. I got it.
Yep. And I'm going tomorrow morning, too. So.
Well, I love it. Look, one thing is follow us and like us and comment.
I don't think he knows what he's been saying here. Subscribe and like to our channel. Follow us on Instagram.
This is what a 21 knows. Social media, follow us wherever you're supposed to follow us. Follow the links. And look, we and if you have different things or subjects you want us to talk about, share it with us. Text us. Most of you have our information, or can follow us on social media.
Yep.
And give us different topics you'd like to hear about, and ask hard questions for each other.
Yep. Thank you, guys.